Lavan Arami, after Yaakov working for him for 7 years for Rochel, he sanctimoniously explains to Yaakov why he gave him the wrong one, why he gave him Leah. Vayeitzei Lavan in Parshas Vayeitzei Pasuk Chavav. Vayeitzei Lavan ya'sa במקומינו הצעירה לפני הבכירה. It's not proper to give the younger daughter before the older daughter. Is that correct? Is that a correct claim? Do we agree with Lavan on that? And if we do, what's the reason for it, and when does it apply? So it turns out that this svara of Lavan is actually brought down in Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says in Yordei Siman Reish Men Daled, Seif Yudches, the Shulchan Aruch says that it's talking about how to respect somebody, who do you give more cover to, and it says Ube Mesiba Shal Mitzvah when we're talking about something Shal Torah, Din Shal Torah. So then you give the one that's the most chashuv first. He's the one that gets the most covered. He's the one that sits in the front. Ube Mesiba Shal Mitzvah. But if it's some kind of a celebration, Mesiba Shal Mishta Oy Shal Nesuin or Shal Nesuin. Holchen Achar HaZikna, then you go after the older one. Leishivay B'Rosh. So what's this Oishal Nesuin? Oishal Nesuin, Nesuin is also part of a Mesiba Shal Mitzvah. So what's the Oishal Nesuin? So the Shach and the Bachin on the Torah and the Shach and Shulchan Aruch explain that Oishal Nesuin is not talking about a chasna during a chasna. We're talking about when one is about to marry off his 2 children. Hachi pirushay im achim oy achiyos yasu lehem nesuin. If they're getting married, even if one of them is older and the other one's younger, we should be makdim. You should be makdim and you should marry off the older one before you marry off the younger one. That's what the Shach and the Bach say, and the source of it is a Rashbam and a Gemara in Baba Basra Kuf Chaf Amud Aleph. The Gemara in Baba Basra says, Ravami Yeshiva Haloichacha Chochma and B'Mesiba Haloichacha Zikna. The Gemara wants to know why by the Bnei Tzalafchad. The Bnei Tzalafchad are mentioned a few times. The Torah enumerates all 5 daughters of Tzalafchad in the Torah, and sometimes the order changes. Sometimes the order is that Noya is second, Machla Noya, and Sirtza is the last one, and that's in Pinchas, and in Masei it's the other way around. Machla Tirza is second, and Noya comes and Noya's last. So in other words, Tirza and Noya keep trade places. In Pinchas, when they come to Moshe Rabbeinu, Noya's first, is second, Machla Noya, and in Masei it's Machla Tirza and Noya is last. So the Rashbam explains that in the first time, when they come to Pinchas, they're coming for learning. They're coming to ask Moshe Rabbeinu what's going to be the halacha. They're speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu and learning. So over there, it goes keseder of chachma. However, in Masei, Perek Lamed Vav, Posik Yud Aleph, Vatiyena Machla Tirza v'Chaglo Milko v'Noya b'Noi Slavchad Livnei Dedeam L'Nashim. They got married. So over there, when it's talking about marriage, so then already it goes in the order of age, not in the order of chachma. And the Rashbam actually brings down the pasuk of Lavan's argument. Ya'sa came b'imkomiנו. He says. Umustaber the kach noldu kediksiv Ya'sa came b'imkomiנו losses hatzira lefnei abechira. So it seems that the Shulchan Aruch is Poskim when he says Oishal Nesuin, he's pasking like this Rashbam, that in marriage one has to marry off the older child before the younger child, and that's why by the B'nai Salafchad, even though one of them was older than the order of the age wasn't necessarily the order of Chachma. Noah Tirza who was the youngest was more Balas Chachma, but when it came to marriage, it went in the order of age. So the problem is, and the Achronim talk about this, the problem is, the Shach says that im achim, two sons, two brothers want to get married, should we stop a mitzvah of Pruah Revu because of this covet of respecting the older child? And even if it's not a mitzvah of Pruah Revu, somebody wants to get on with their life, we should stop it because of this because of an older sister. And Ramosha in his tshuva in the beginning of Even Ezer Chelik Beis, he brings a raya from a Gemara in Kedushin. The Gemara in Kedushin clearly says, that when the Gemara in Kedushin Daf Samach Daled Amud Aleph clearly says that when somebody has two children, and one is younger and one is older, but the younger one is the one that he has to marry off. So then, because she's a katana still, so he marries that one, and we assume that that's the one he meant. So Moshe asks that if there's a din that you can't marry off the younger one before the older one, so then we should assume that he's marrying off the older one, not the younger one. So Ramosha's pshat, Ramosha's teretz is that this halacha is only when both of them are about to marry at once. When they're both about to marry at once, both brothers or two sisters are about to marry at the same time, so then there's a din that the older one should go first. But if only one of them is about to marry, so then you don't have then there's no din that we should. There's no derech eretz, there's no nimus to allow to wait for the older one, and the younger one can get married, and it's no problem. Rav Weiss and Minchas Yitzchak asks Sakasha. He asks Aaron Moshe. He says that in the case of by Rochel and Leah, there was only one Yaakov. Only one of them was going to get married, and still we see that there was the svara of Ya'ase במקומינו was still said. Lavan, it obviously didn't apply, but it should have had some sort of a validity, something. I mean, if Ramosha, like Ramosha, that there is no such halacha at all when only one of them is about to marry, it shouldn't apply. Also, there's a Tosafos that says that of Ya'ase uses the svar of Ya'ase במקומינו, when over there the question is about two daughters. One clearly was married, and one was both of them were not married, and it's a question of who he married off, and he used the svar of Ya'ase במקומינו. And like Ramosha, there wouldn't be such a svara. Weiss wants to say that the reason is because that it's only when you can. Only when you can you mark them the first, but not when you can't. When you can't, I'm not. That's a little bit hard to quantify exactly when you can. B'mokim she'efsher. When exactly is b'mokim she'efsher? What should we do? And also, a little more fundamentally, how could it be that there's at all a din of derech eretz? How could it be that we're asking somebody not to marry or to sit around because of derech eretz, because of nimus? The Marsham and the Minchas Yitzchak use the lashon, it's derech eretz v'nimus. How could it be that there's a derech eretz v'nimus? Derech eretz v'nimus, obviously derech eretz v'nimus is very important, but somebody should sit around for years or for months or for whatever it is. They shouldn't get on with their life because of a derech eretz v'nimus. because somebody else is going to be offended? So I think if we look in the Shach itself and the Bach, when they bring down the halacha, I think that they explain what the whole motivation is, what's the underlying halacha, and then we can know how to apply it or when to apply it. The lashon of the Bach is like this: V'nira the hayshal nesuin hachi pirusha im achem achi es yasu len nesuin afa gavsha echod godo michaverei bechachma lo yakdimu lasis nesuin lekatin. Which means like this. Nobody is saying that the first one has to go first. Nobody's saying that the first one always has to go first. And nobody's saying there's no halacha that we have to give the first one first. This is all in the realm and it's all in the rules of kavod. Which means like this. If we have two people and the question is who should be more respected, so in b'negei chachma, when the question is about a din Torah or something that's negei chachma, we respect the one that has more chachma, and we give him more kavod. When it comes to nesuin, or when it comes to a wedding, the question is who we should respect more. So don't respect the one who has more chachma, the younger one that has more chachma. When it comes to these things, we should respect the older one more. But that's only when all the considerations is about respect. If the younger one is not going to be, if the younger one is not a candidate for this shidduch, or the younger one doesn't have a shidduch ready, so it's not about respect. It's not about respecting it's not about respecting the older one over the younger one. It's about marrying the younger one off and not the older one. The whole that's not included in this halacha. The whole halacha is like this: when we have two siblings side by side, the question is who we should respect more. B'negei chachma, we respect the younger one if he has more chachma, and b'negei nesuin, we respect the older one. But that's only if the question is who we should respect more. If there's other questions, if the question is who one should marry first, if the question is if only one of them has a shidduch lined up and the other one doesn't have a shidduch lined up, that's not what we're talking about. That was never said such halacha. Nobody's going to say that somebody should sit around and not marry because somebody else is going to be offended. Nobody said that we should, and for sure not when there's a mitzvah involved, a mitzvah of pru revu. By a boy, there's a mitzvah of pru revu. No one said that we should just put the marriage on the side because somebody's going to be offended because of a nimus v'derech eretz. It's only when the question is about nimus and derech eretz. When I have two in front of us, and the question is who I should respect, not even if neither of them are engaged, and the question is who should be married, right? Who we should marry off. Let's say somebody has somebody's looking into a shidduch, and the question is who they should respect more. If the question is who you should respect more, so when the question is about even if the younger one has more chachma, but since the older one is older, we should respect the older one more. But if you want the younger one for a different reason, not because of respect, of course you take the younger one. When the question is about respect, we respect the older one in the realm of nesuin. Lavan was obviously wrong. Why was he wrong? How do we know he was wrong? Because Yaakov wanted to marry Rochel, not Leah. Lavan knew better than Yaakov. And the reason why Yaakov wanted Rochel was he had his own cheshbonis. He was ohev Rochel. He wanted Rochel not because of respect. He wanted Rochel because he wanted Rochel. Lavan made it as if the problem was about respect, about who I should respect more, And there he said that in respect we have to respect Leah before Rochel because Leah is older, and but again Nesuin we respect the older one more. But of course it wasn't true. He wasn't taking Leah because he thought Leah was. Yaakov hadn't picked Rochel because he felt that she was more chachma, and therefore he felt he had to respect her more. That wasn't the reason. So since that wasn't the reason, that's why Yaakov was right to want Rochel, because it wasn't about respect. When it's not about who should be respected more, the one that has more chachma or the one that has more age, then that's it's all these cheshbonis don't count. The whole Bach and the whole Shach, which are explaining Pshat in the Shulchan Aruch, Oishal Nesuin, is that when the question is who should be respected more over there, who should be respected more when it comes to Nesuin, if it's about respect, age is more important than Chachma. In Nesuin, age is more important. But it's only in the realm of respect, and not if there's any other cheshbonis, if there's any other considerations and any other reasons why somebody wants to marry the younger one, or why a parent wants to make a chasna for a younger child. For a younger child, it's not about respect. This one found the shidduch, that one didn't find the shidduch. It's not. I'm not respecting the younger one because the younger one is a bigger bal chachma or a bigger talmud chacham. I'm just marrying off that one because that one has the shidduch. When it's not about respect, then this whole issue is not counted.